Hello, everyone. Welcome to our foundational wellness discussion. I'm Dr. Bell, and today we're talking about foundational wellness, and that means a lot of different things. We're going to talk about foundational habits that I like to promote and teach about and share, as well as, which is more like, let's say, ancient wisdom. But I also want to talk about some more modern tools that we can use when we don't necessarily have the time or the resources to do everything from scratch, or everything in a that takes longer time. So we're going to talk about nourishment and how we feed our bodies, and all the different influencers, not Instagram influencers, but things that we are exposed to that will influence our health. So, as much as possible, I like promoting eating real food. If you can grow it yourself, even better. If you can get it from a local source, is really great. And so the more whole foods that you can eat, whether it's fruit, vegetables, meat, dairy, that is from a good source and that is not modified or um, transformed in any way, is best for you. If you're cooking it, if you're making a recipe with it, that's fine. So I always encourage you, just like now, if you're watching this in the future, right now we're in the fall. And what I like to encourage, if you're starting to want to take better care of yourself, if you're starting to be more aware of all these different things that you can do to improve your health and your wellness, one of the simplest things you could do is start cooking at home. Start making your own food. It doesn't have to be fancy, and you can just start with one recipe or one thing. One thing I like to do on weekends or at the beginning of the week is cook a big batch of something. Today's Monday, it's going to be chili for my family. So, very simple. I don't use a recipe. I just cook some brown some ground meat. It could be chicken, it could be turkey, it could be beef, it could be pork, whatever you want to use. I add some fresh onions in there, and then I add a can of mixed beans, and then I add some tomatoes, some spices. I also usually add some carrots, celery, but there's no recipe. You can do whatever you want. You can add corn in there. Try to make sure it's GMO free. And I make a big batch. So we have it for quick dinners, we have it for lunches, and it lasts the whole week for the three of us. Another thing I like making for the week is a batch of soup. This week, I'm going to make lentil soup. I actually have a recipe. You can find it in my videos explaining how I make my lentil soup. Lentil soup, any legumes. So in our chili, we're going to have mixed beans, lots of fiber, protein, and vitamins and minerals that are going to be really, really good for you. Some of the people that live the longest in the world, you look at Greece, Japan, Italy, they live over 100 years old. There's some communities that live very long, healthy lives. They all eat legumes. So that means chickpeas, any kind of beans, and they eat them almost every day, if not every day. So adding them and trying to get a portion of that in your diet every day is a really great idea. And then I try to roast something. I try to have a big batch of meat. Sometimes I'll roast a whole chicken. I do not purchase the pre-roasted chickens at the grocery store, or like, the big uh, stores where you can get things in bulk. I know they smell delicious, they taste delicious, but they are full of junk. They're full of bad things for you. And so you can buy your own whole chickens. If you're going to that same store, you can buy a 3-pack for maybe $30 Canadian, or you can get some at your local grocery store. Usually they're about $10 a piece. And I just throw it in the oven. I roast it in my Dutch oven, actually. And you can do whatever you want with it. You can put any spices. I like putting a little bit of onion. I forgot to turn my phone off. Um, and then we've got chicken for the week. So we can do sandwiches, stir fries. We can have it just like on its own for a lunch with cheese, vegetables, whatever you want, right? So, and then the bones I use to make stock to make a soup the week after. So, those are all different ideas. You can do all of them. You can start with one of them, but starting with eating real food is going to be your best bet for a long, healthy life and also for your bank account. You're saving a lot of money when you're cooking at home. Now, typically in the summer, I'm not a big vitamin person. However, about 12 years ago, I did start taking some vitamins in the wintertime that was recommended by one of my colleagues. And I was like, I don't do vitamins. I grow my own food. I grow my own kale. I have my chickens. This is back when I had a little kind of hobby farm. And I was like, I have all the vitamins and minerals that I need. I don't need to take vitamins. But I gave it a shot. And it really made a huge difference. I've been for a long time a multi-business woman, and so I like projects. I like getting involved in different businesses, and I do own a few different businesses, and it's something I like. I'm an entrepreneur. I can't help it. I'm also a mom. And so at one point, especially in the winter, where I have less sunshine, I need a lot of sun. I have often less fresh air, and I don't eat the same in the winter. In the summer, I eat fresh, I eat local, and I get more sunshine. I try to get as much vitamins, or not vitamins, but minerals from the sea. If you're able to dip your toes or go for a soak in the sea or the ocean as much as possible, it's so good for you. And if you can't, you could do Epsom salt baths, right? You can get some minerals in your bath water and take a nice hot bath so that you can soak that up. Or you can do those salt floats. If you've ever done those floats, they have them at different spas. Some places just do the floats, which are really, really amazing. They are very high in salt. It's super salty water, and you're maybe in, like, I don't know, a foot and a half of water, and you can't help but float. You can't like touch. You could touch the ground, but as soon as you go onto your back, you're floating because the salt is and the minerals are so concentrated. And it's so good for your skin, and it's so good for everything. It absorbs into your system. It's so good. We need these things. We know that our blood, the composition of our blood is almost identical to seawater. And so we love being in that salty, mineral rich environment because we really kind of connect. Our blood is like, oh, this is like me. And so as much as you can do that, you can do it at home. You can do it if you're by the sea or the ocean, or you can go to a space where you can do those mineral salt floats. Those are really good. So in the winter, I started taking these vitamins about 12 years ago. And it really made a difference in my energy, is what I felt was making a difference. And people would ask me, they're like, how do you do it? How do you do it all? I'm, you know, seeing patients. I'm teaching dance. I'm dancing. I've been dancing for almost 45 years. So my body could sometimes get some aches and pains, my muscles get sore, my joints have been bouncing around for a very long time. And I'm a mom. And so and at the time I was a mom to a very young little girl. So it was a lot of different kind of work than it is today. Now we have a teenager. And so I started taking these vitamins, which still exist, but we've shifted, and I want to talk about how they've changed. Um, Huge difference in my energy, my focus, and my sleep also improved. So fast forward to 12, 13 years later, and um, the company that I've been working closely with when it comes to natural solutions, natural products, natural remedies, and supplements have started to reformulate those amazing vitamins that I was taking. And we still have those original vitamins, but they came in like a pack where you had 3 bottles. And you had one that was your multivitamin, one that was like an energy kind of blend for your cells, and then the other bottle was your omega oils. So we know, and if you don't know, omegas are really important for so many things. Omegas are good for your bones, they're good for your brain, they're good for your skin, they're good for your focus. Omegas for your heart. So many things. They're anti-inflammatory. So unless you're eating a ton of fish, which again, in the summer, I eat a lot of fresh fish. And so I'm getting lots of amazing omegas in there. And so it used to be 3 bottles. And in the last year, we've come out with a new format, which I have to say, I wasn't a fan. I wasn't a fan, but I hadn't tried it. It was just a matter of like, well, I don't like taking, powdered stuff. This is how I think, right? I like real stuff. I like real food. So I had to give it a shot because I think it's important to at least try. And it tastes really good. So that's already important because if you don't want to take something that's powdered, that's like, oh, I can't take it, I can't swallow it. So it tastes really good. But what I liked about it is like I didn't have to take 3 separate supplements in the morning. It's just one envelope. I got it right here. So it's one little envelope that you pour into your water. You can pour it, even if you put it in straight in water, it tastes really good. I like to shake it with maybe an ice cube so it gets nice and cool. You can put it in your smoothie, which is awesome too. And you just don't want to put it in any warm beverage. And so what this is the combination of those, not those 3, but 2 of the bottles that I was telling you about, which were the multivitamin minerals and the energy mix for your cells, which used to be called the Alpha CRX, plus some greens. So you can go to the store and get vitamins, minerals, like all individually, right? You can get your greens. Lots of companies make greens. Some of them are good, some of them are not so, they don't taste great. But I think a lot of people are aware of greens. And this is all in one. So it's really nice. It tastes great. It's like a pineapple mango flavor. And you just do it once a day, right? So what I've started doing is in the winter, this season, it's not winter yet, but it's my first year starting and transitioning to the VMG Plus is what it's called. And sometimes I don't do it every day. If I'm honest, I don't do it every day because some days I eat really well and I get lots of sunshine. Sometimes the coldest days are the days where you have the most sunshine. And so I make it a point to go out and I just stand on my patio. I bundle up, I get some good sunshine, or I take a walk with the dogs and I get as much sun on my skin as possible because that's going to help me with my vitamin D, right? Vitamin D is linked to so many different things. This is why I encourage you all to get some sun as much as possible all year round. Your vitamin D is super important for your hormones. And so your hormones control a lot of things in your body. It's not just about your mood for PMS with the ladies. Your hormones control so many things. Think of your thyroid gland is controlled by hormones and also produces hormones. And so you really need to make sure your hormones are healthy. So get your sunshine. Taking vitamin D as a supplement is not going to be the same. It's not the same as the real thing. You always want to get the real thing as much as possible. So, on those days where, or maybe you just don't, you don't, you don't eat that well. You know, you don't have time to cook. You know that you have days where you're on the go, which we can talk about on another day, right? We can talk about having a little bit of a slower pace and taking your time to do things. It's not easy, but doing that, taking the time to do things also helps your body. And so you've got your whole foods in here. So this is all from real fruits and vegetables. Your vitamins in here are coming from fruits and vegetables. The greens are coming from real greens. Okay? So everything is recognizable by your body. It is not a foreign substance. It is not a synthetic substance. We know that 80% of the vitamins in the market right now are synthetic, which means that your body doesn't really recognize it, which is why you pee most of it out. So, having whole food supplements is so important. And now, what I like to combine this with, and you can get them together, is the omega oils. Now, the thing that makes this special with the company I like to work with, which is doTERRA, is they specialize in plant extracts. So we go and get the essential oils out of plants. It could be sometimes from the leaves of a plant. It could be coming from the root of a plant. It could be coming from the flower. It could be coming from the rind when we're talking about oranges, lemons, limes. Oils that are very powerful, they're very medicinal, and they've been medicinal for thousands of years. They've known this for a long time, right? Today, with the science that we have today, we're able to not only extract those and make sure that we have the most potent version of it, because just like wine, it can be affected by the soil, the climate. So we make sure that we go and get those oils, those molecular compounds from the plants that are often the defense mechanism of a plant in places where they grow, where we get the most potent result, the most potent product. So, yeah, we grow lavender in Canada. You can grow lavender in a lot of different places, but this company has done lots of research, lots of testing, and they go and source it in a place where every time we have a batch, we can recreate the same chemical constituents that is consistent so that we can have a product that is reliable with its results. So lavender is an example, okay? And it's been so great at doing this that our lavender, for example, is a pharmaceutical grade lavender. That means a lot, okay? That means it's reproduced and it's the same every time. However, it is a natural product. So when you take different essential oils like lemon. For example, lemon has a lot of great benefits. And when you include it and you match it with your omegas, you've got E omega here. So EO means essential oil plus mega. So we've got lots of different oils in here. One of them is lemon. And what we've done is we've done tests. So we have our omega oils, and in here we've got different essential oils. We actually did some research, and in the lab we took them apart. So we're like, let's see how great our omegas are without combining them with the essential oils. They're great, but we realize that this combination, when you have essential oils, very specific essential oils that all have really great benefits for your heart, for your brain, for your liver, for your intestines, for your skin, for your eyes, for your bones. When you combine them together, a kind of reaction happens and they act differently together than if they were separate. And scientifically, what we were able to show was when we combined them, we had people with a lower blood pressure and a lower resting heart rate. So it has an amazing effect on our health, and that's just your heart health, right? Omegas are very, very important, and they're very anti-inflammatory. And so when we think of inflammation in the body, I'm not talking necessarily about injuries and, you're like, oh, I have pain, I have inflammation. Maybe you have some arthritis in your joints, you've got inflammation, maybe you've got an old injury. But inflammation is not always something that you feel. It's not always in a form of pain. It could be deep inside your body, especially in your gut. So in your intestinal tract, you can have inflammation. And when that happens, think of it as swelling. When you're eating your food, and hopefully it's good food, hopefully it has good vitamins, or maybe you are taking your VMG. In the gut, in your intestines, is where you're absorbing. It's like a sponge, and it's going to take all those vitamins and minerals and bring it to where your body needs it. It's feeding your cells, and then it's feeding your everything, right? It's going into your bloodstream, it's going to your brain. And if that kind of tunnel, which is your intestines, is filled with inflammation, means there's some swelling in there, you may not be able to absorb everything you need to absorb. So things are going down the drain and you're not getting what you need that is available, but you're not absorbing it. So having something in your diet that is anti-inflammatory, like omegas, is going to be really important. And where we know this makes a huge difference is with people's mental health. And so we know that in order to heal the brain, you need to heal the gut. And when you have poor diet, when you have inflammation in the gut, which again, you don't necessarily feel, but notice the connection. I want you to pay attention to people in your life who may have an anxiety disorder, some kind of mental health issue, and how many of those people have some kind of a gut issue. And so IBS, Crohn's, any kind of gut issue, there's a high incidence of those together. Sometimes it's an eating disorder. And so, regardless of what it is, there's a big connection between your gut health and your brain health. And if you want your brain to work better and you want your brain to be healthy and happy, you have to make sure that you're getting the proper nutrition and that you're actually absorbing that nutrition, because you don't want to be having that inflammation in your gut. Okay, so this is going to be a very important component, is this omega. All right, so I've started taking these, and it's the new version of what I was taking before, and it's been great. I sleep well. I have energy during the day. I also don't think it's wrong to take some rest during the day. I've seen, I do a lot of research and I watch a lot of different videos. And I think in general, the North American philosophy is, you work all day and you sleep all night kind of thing. I don't think that that's natural. I think it's important to take breaks and to pace yourself and to um, rest. And so taking some time, whether it's the afternoon or midday, to take 20 minutes, 30 minutes, an hour to rest if you can, is never a bad idea. You don't necessarily need to sleep, but if you can sleep, sleep is very healing. And as a chiropractor, I teach about the importance of keeping your nervous system in check. I mean, all day long, right? So, our job as chiropractors is to make sure that your nervous system is working optimally. And so, it means that just like your phone, you got to recharge it sometimes, right? You got to rest. Sometimes you need an update. That's when you get an adjustment, right? And I wouldn't do that every couple of months. I would do that more regularly. That's just my opinion. However, that being said, these have been a big game changer for me. And I do feel the difference when I don't take them, matched with not eating well, not resting, not moving. So if you are looking for a vitamin, some greens, some omegas for your brain, for your heart, for your lungs, for your immune system, for your eye health, for your hair, for your nails, for your skin. This is kind of like all in one. If you are close to me, you can give it a shot. I do have some little packs that you can try here. And they have all of these in there, plus a probiotic and some peppermint oil, which is so good for so many different things. I love the peppermint for headaches. I love peppermint for digestion, for clearing my sinuses, for cooling me off. It has a lot of amazing properties. So you get a little tester of peppermint. So let me know if you want to try a little sample pack, and we can get together, and we can also do that online and talk about what your specific needs are, because internet is great, right? We don't need to be close. I'm making sure that I haven't missed anything. There's so much information, and I like to break it down in a simple way for everyone. Because if you really want to dig deeper, if you really want to look at all the more scientific and technical data, you can find that online easily. But yeah, it's something that is finding that balance, having a tool, having something that is still natural, still toxic free. The one thing that I do love about this is that it's GMO free, it's gluten free, it's all the allergens, so the lactose free. It's vegan, which is great. Not the omega, but the VMG is vegan. Sometimes you just need a little boost, right? You just need a little boost, and it may not be every day, but you want to have something, just like For example, I have my different packs. I have my electrolytes as well. I mentioned earlier that I'm a dancer and a dance teacher. So if I have a big weekend where I know I'm going to be teaching or taking classes all weekend and dancing all evening, I know it's important to replenish my vitamins and my minerals, but also my electrolytes. And so having those, tools in your pocket for when you know you need an extra little assist, then this is a great way to do that. So if you have any questions, please reach out. You can book a complimentary consultation with me online or in person, and we can look at what your needs are, whether it's for digestion, hormones, for sleep, for stress and anxiety, for pain, for mental health assistance and helping with your mood. We can talk about it and we can look at what the best options are for you in a natural approach that is also totally safe to take and do with other things that you're already doing. So that's it for me today, guys. I hope you learned something new, and I hope to see you at our next session. Ciao for now.